Good morning, everyone. Today's video is the second video for heating and insulation in your van if you are doing van life. Whether you have a small van or a large van, I just wanted to share some more tips with you guys that I forgot to mention yesterday in my previous video. So I installed insulation in the back of my van. It is very different than the ones that I mentioned prior in my last video, but this is actually insulation that you would use for a water heater. If you have a large water heater in the basement of your home, most water heaters are covered with an insulation. And I got this at Walmart. It was about $35. In hindsight, when I installed it, kind of wished that I did my entire van, because it probably would have been a little bit of an upgrade from the lamb's wool insulation, which I had mentioned before, which is the best insulation you could use for anyone that's doing van life. If you're starting from scratch and you're going to insulate your van and you have the money, go with the lamb's wool. It is amazing. To do my entire van with the lamb's wool would have been about $3,000. But the benefits, like I said before, it's really soundproof. You're soundproofing your van, and not only soundproof, but also it is mold proof, so you don't end up with mold. So 10 years from now, if your entire van is done with the lamb's wool, it won't get moldy, which is a huge factor in anyone that has an RV, whether they're doing van life or a large RV. There's a lot of people that will go and look at some small camper van, and they're looking to buy it for maybe just to go on adventures, escape to the mountains, or go on a road trip, and they're thinking about getting a small camper van or a large camper van. And a lot of the older ones do have mold, and then you've got to treat them with the mold, or partially gut it, or gut the whole thing. So you do get what you pay for. With the lamb's wool, like I said, if I could have afforded it in the beginning, I would have done that. But I was on a budget. Like I told you before, I bought this van almost brand new. So okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this insulation. It does come with tape, so it didn't fit the entire back door. There's probably 2 inches on either side, the left and the right side. I wanted to have it more centrally located in the van. It wasn't really worth it for me to buy another whole package, because it's really almost to the ends on either side. Most vans in the back of your van, you do get a little bit of a draft, regardless of the quality of the van. You're going to get a little bit of a draft, so it really covers everything. One side is fiberglass insulation, and then the other side is covered with this heavy-duty plastic. So you can see this here. This is a heavy-duty plastic, and I forget the dimensions on it, but I believe it was 7 feet. I can't remember the dimensions, but I know one length was 7 feet. So what I did was I taped the whole top with the tape that came with it, that normally you would put on a water heater. And then on the sides, I did the same thing. When I ran out of tape, because it's designed and they give you enough tape just for the water heater, but you're going to need a little bit more. So aesthetically, I like things to look nice. I want things to look pretty. So I used just a heavy white duct tape for the sides. And then I brought it to the very floor, and there's probably just a few inches on the floor, and I just taped it to the floor just to add a little bit more insulation down below. And like I said, this is about $35. It is well worth the money. In hindsight, if I had known about this, I probably would have done my entire van, because this would have been a step up from the lamb's wool insulation, but still it's fiberglass insulation. I didn't use any gloves, but I would recommend using gloves when you're unwrapping it. Get some latex gloves when you go to install fiberglass insulation. But I could have done my whole walls, and I don't know if I would have done the ceiling or not. So again, this is my closet. I'm sure you can see this. I got my clothes back here, and my toilet, and my dirty clothes, and all of the things that I would bring to the gym when I go to the gym. I mentioned this before in another video, that I did give up space back here for a shower. I shower at the gym, but it just depends on your lifestyle, how many people are living in your van. If you're a married couple and you're living in your van, it's probably better also to use the space for your personal belongings and clothes, especially if you're a working professional, and then, go to the gym. It also, kind of forces you to work out and stay healthy. It's so important to stay healthy when you are doing the van life. I don't work remote, so I'm not in my van all the time. And when you are in a van and you are you need to save space as much as possible. Every little inch of space makes a difference, just 6 inches here and there, 8 inches here and there to fit things makes a huge difference in what you can store in your van. And the other thing too, so this is the bad part. I love opening up my back doors when I go to the laundromat. So I've got my dirty clothes on the floor. You don't need to see those, but I have my dirty clothes, and, during the summer months and when it's warmer out, I open up my back doors, get my laundry, and it's so easy. When I'm done with my laundry, I put some of it in the front of my van that's going in the front. I've got a dresser in the front of my van that has all my sheets and my towels and utensils, and some of my dishes are in the drawer up there. But and then back here, some of my all the clothes that would go in my closet. Normally I would put them in through the back of the van, but now I've got to kind of carry things over the bed. I just wanted to show you guys that I do have a footstool. Actually, I'm not even going to show it to you, because you know what, there's no point. But I do have a footstool because, like I said, my bed is 24 inches high. So climbing up over the bed can be kind of a challenge. So I did get a footstool from going from the front of the van to the back of the van. And that way some of, I'm able to fit more underneath my bed. Some of it is in bins, and then the stuff I use every day, like taking my vitamins and my hair stuff, everything I have is sort of in the front. So it makes it easier for me on the other side of the bed to get ready in the morning. And that's about it. If I remember anything else, I will keep you guys posted. But if you are in the beginning of starting van life, especially if you're single and you're having a really hard time paying rent, because I know rent is so high in Massachusetts, and now it's getting ridiculously high everywhere across the country. So even going state to state, if you're up north and you're thinking about moving down south, even apartments down here are really going up. So if you're considering doing van life and you're starting from scratch, you just bought your van, I would highly recommend getting some latex gloves and getting the insulation that would cover a water heater. And like I said, they're at Walmart, about $35, depending on, I don't know how much you'll need. for your van, because it really depends on the size. This is pretty much the largest size Ford Transit, so this is pretty big. But if you have a smaller van, it really wouldn't cost you that much money to insulate all the walls, and you could probably do it a little bit different than what I did. You might even be able to cut this and put half of the insulation on one side, half on the other. To me, it was more important to not have that draft between the two doors when you open it up. So anyway, just wanted to recommend that, and I hope you guys have a great day. And all right. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry, I just thought of this because someone mentioned to me about the ventilation earlier, because it's very important. I will mention this one more time. When you are using a propane heater, I'm not sure about the diesel heater. I don't think you need to do it with the diesel heater because you have a pipe that is being brought outside of your van. You have to drill a hole somewhere in your van if you choose the diesel heater. And so you will have that ventilation. So I don't think you have to open a window, but for the propane heater, you're supposed to open up, crack a window so you have fresh air in here at any time. So anyway, I just wanted to stress that because I had someone mention it. So make sure you vent a little bit, vent the windows a little bit so you have that fresh air. And like I said before, if you go with the Mr. Buddy heater, it only stays on for 3 hours anyway. So it's important to remember that. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you open your windows, you're going to be freezing. So that's about it. And I hope you guys have a great day. All right. Bye.